The accusation came fast and loud. Before the courtroom could even settle, a well-dressed woman stood confidently, pointing her finger as if she already knew the outcome. Her voice carried emotion that felt almost too perfect. She wasn't just explaining what happened, she was performing it. Jennifer Arthur claimed she had been targeted, not because of anything she did, but because of who she was. According to her, a police officer had pulled her over simply for driving in the wrong neighborhood. She spoke about fear, intimidation, and unfair treatment. Every word was carefully chosen, every pause deliberate. She expected sympathy, she expected validation, and most of all, she expected to win. But what Jennifer didn't know was that the truth had already been reviewed, and it told a very different story. That afternoon, the courtroom was filled with tension. A discrimination claim always draws attention, but this one carried a different weight. Jennifer sat with confidence, dressed sharply, presenting herself as someone who had everything under control. Across from her sat Officer Joseph Williams, calm and composed, his posture steady, a 15-year veteran who had handled countless situations. But this time, his integrity was being questioned in front of everyone. When Jennifer began her testimony, she didn't hesitate. She described the traffic stop as terrifying. She claimed the officer approached aggressively. She insisted she had done nothing wrong, that she was barely speeding, and that the entire situation was rooted in discrimination. The courtroom listened carefully. Some were convinced, others remained uncertain, but one person stayed completely still, observing every detail without interruption. Judge Judy allowed her to speak without interference. No reactions, no expressions, just silence. And when Jennifer finished, she felt confident. In her mind, she had already shaped the narrative. Then came a simple question. "Are you certain about your driving record?" Jennifer answered without hesitation. She said she had never had a violation, not once. She was completely sure, and that confidence would soon become her biggest mistake. When Officer Williams stood to speak, the atmosphere shifted. His voice was calm, steady, and precise. He explained what actually happened that day. He spoke about the speed, the location, and the situation. And then he mentioned something that changed everything. There was evidence, complete footage of the incident. Every second had been recorded. The courtroom fell silent, because now it wasn't about stories anymore. It was about proof. The video began to play, and one by one, Jennifer's claims started to fall apart. The car wasn't moving slowly. It was speeding far beyond what she admitted. The officer wasn't aggressive. He was calm, professional, and patient. The stop didn't last long. There was no intimidation, no harassment, just a standard procedure clearly captured on camera. Then came the moment that shifted everything completely. Jennifer's behavior, her tone, her attitude, her words. The confidence she showed on camera was very different from the fear she described in court. She argued, resisted instructions, and immediately accused the officer. Not out of confusion, but out of frustration, every second of that footage told the truth. And the truth was undeniable. When the video ended, the courtroom sat in silence. There was nothing left to question. The evidence had spoken. Jennifer's expression changed. The confidence faded. The control she once had was gone. Now, all attention was on her. Judge Judy leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. She made it clear everything Jennifer had claimed was proven false. Jennifer tried to explain. She said she was emotional, that maybe she remembered things differently, that her feelings were still valid. But this time, it didn't matter, because facts don't change based on feelings, and evidence doesn't lie. Then came another revelation, her driving history. What she had described as perfect was anything but. Multiple violations, repeated incidents, a clear pattern. And with each detail, the truth became clearer. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a one-time mistake, it was a habit, a pattern of avoiding responsibility and shifting blame. The courtroom could feel the weight of it. The silence was no longer just quiet, it was heavy, because now everyone understood what had really happened. Jennifer hadn't been targeted. She had been stopped for a reason, and instead of accepting that, she chose a different path. She turned a serious accusation into a shield, hoping it would protect her from consequences. But in that courtroom, it didn't work. Judge Judy's final words were direct and clear. This case wasn't about feelings. It was about facts, and the facts had already spoken. The case was dismissed. Jennifer sat there, silent. The same silence that once filled the room now surrounded her completely. The confidence, the control, the performance, all gone. In its place was something she hadn't expected: accountability. Officer Williams stood quietly. No reaction, no celebration, just the quiet presence of someone whose truth had finally been seen. And as the courtroom settled, one message became clear. Truth doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need performance. It simply needs to exist. Because in the end, no matter how strong a story sounds, only the truth survives.